My friends, this is just an introduction to a form of Hatha Yoga, the physical part, which deals with body building as opposed to stretching muscles. It's building up the muscles so they gain weight, they get stronger. It's a classical part of the Hatha Yoga system, going back many thousands of years, part of the Virabhadra warrior series way back when. And it involves slow motion exercises. They're very effective. They're done with focus, concentration, very controlled breathing, imagery, visualizing. Sense of feeling is 100% on what you're doing, not thinking anything else. The gods of thunder have just spoken in verification of what I've said. So I applied these in 1975, 1976, when I was quite skinny, and applied them intensely. I use rocks, although traditionally they're done with nothing. So I use rocks for weights to get in touch with my muscles. And I gained 6 pounds in 48 hours and 1 pound per day for the rest of the month. So I went from 105 pounds to 145 pounds. So I've maintained that higher status of weight pretty much ever since then. Very powerful and effective techniques. It's usually a guy's thing. Men like to work out with the muscles, but very first chakra. Hatha Yoga, first chakra, empowering, strengthening, bodybuilding. Hatha Yoga, Dandhals. I'll follow up with a few images here of Vyasudian from the original book that I studied this in 1970, my first year traveling on my way to India. Observe these images. They're quite classic and old. They describe some of the techniques that we'll be doing during the video. All right.
Welcome, yogis and yoginis. Today's class will be focused on Dandhals, talking more about our strength. And so you can do this really anywhere. Doesn't matter. You're home. All you do is need a set of dumbbells, or you don't even need a set of dumbbells. And we're going to just get into breathing, and then I'll pass it on to David to do more explanation. So if you want to close down your eyes, bring your hands to your belly. We're going to start with our 3-part breathing. As you breathe in through the nose, allow the diaphragm to expand, belly out. As you exhale, gently pull the belly button back towards the spine. And continue this breath, moving in and out. And now we're going to move up to the second part of the breath, hands on the ribs, fingers forward, thumbs back. Just a few rounds here, breathing into the ribs. Inhale, expand outward. And exhale, press the ribs back together. You can do as many or least amount of these as you want. We'll do 2 more. And on your last round here, we're going to bring one hand over the heart, one hand over your hand, shoulder blades back and down, and just a gentle lift of the chest. One final big breath in. And exhale, let it go.
You can have your eyes open to watch how we're doing this also. So ideally we're going to be focusing on breath integration to the movements. The movements are designed to really engage various muscles of the body. You can do many different movements. We're going to start off with some simple ones. and then we'll add more as we go along in this series. We can also be doing this to music to make it more enjoyable, as we can any kind of yoga practice. So Hatha Yoga Dandhals goes back to a book by Yastudian and Hike, written back in the 1940s. It was one of my first yoga Bibles when I was traveling on the way to India. The only book that I've seen that actually mentions and describes how to do these. So essentially, we're doing different movements like bicep curl and triceps and shoulder for pressing, and we'll go through a few other movements to engage various other muscles and body parts. But the technique has to do with the breath and motion, which is done in slow motion and is done very slow, something like this, while exhaling very slowly as you do the motion from one end to the other. When you're in the more relaxed position down here is when you take in the full complete breath, and then on the exhalation you're lifting slowly and exhaling slowly so that when you reach the top of the motion you're out of breath. That's the essential technique. Now there's an addition to this called Mukha Pranayama, which is closing the mouth. Actually, you're out exhaling through the mouth on this. And what we do is close the mouth and you're holding your lips together. So you have to push the air out. So this would be called Dandhal Pranayama. Actually, I'll refer to it as such. The air pressure that builds up in the lungs when you're exhaling forces a little more oxygen into the bloodstream, which is then going directly to the muscles. Your concentration is specifically on the sensation of the muscle contraction. And as we are doing this as part of the yoga practice, we add the practice of Mula Bandha, contracting Mula Bandha as you contract the muscle and letting it go as you inhale and relax whatever motion you're doing. So I started doing this many years ago, and I started off with weights because I was very skinny and out of shape and I could hardly feel my muscles at all. So using a weight makes you really notice the muscle that's working. So let's do a few inhaling and exhaling with the lips. Now you can do this 2 arms at a time. I'm just demonstrating one arm. Inhalation is here, a complete breath, all those parts that McKinley was showing you. And then we exhale, slowly lifting. One more time. It's a full breath here. The mouth is pressed closed and you're pushing the air through a closed mouth. At the end, we relax and do cleansing breath. Then we're going to do it again, but without any weight. Remember, the cleansing breath is to eliminate carbon dioxide. So you're pushing everything out of your lungs, you're squeezing down, slouching to compress the lungs. When we do this, engaging the muscle, we automatically are creating a much higher level of carbon dioxide. And when that builds up enough, we start to feel tiredness. We complement that in yoga by cleansing breath and then adding a few deep breaths. So we get rid of the CO2, bring in oxygen, and the feeling changes. And then we can go on. So now without weights, take a few more breaths. From the arms down position, we imagine that we still have the weight. Totally focused on the biceps muscle here. You're feeling it contract. You're not thinking anything, you're simply paying attention to the sensation that we are creating by doing this. Totally relax, let everything go and top up the breath here. If you're doing this effectively, you should already start to feel a tiredness sensation, and you can feel the muscle itself actually heating up or even burning a little bit. If your imagination and concentration is there, it only takes half a dozen of these and you feel like, whoa, that's a lot of work. And then you do cleansing breath. A few more complete deep breaths. And last one, we're just going to lock it in and relax down. Remember the kumbhak, the retention in yoga is a complete breath, shoulders up and back. Lock and relax down without letting the breath out. See if you can still notice any sensation in those muscles. You want to do enough that there's a residual feeling in the muscles that there's still something going on there, because there is. They are rejuvenating, rebuilding. Now we're going to do one for the triceps, which is the opposite muscle as far as your arm is concerned. Biceps bend the arm, the triceps straighten the arm. Effectively, what we're doing in reality when we do the imagination thing is we're working one muscle against the other. The triceps is creating resistance, the biceps is pulling the arm up. So you're actually using both muscles. Now we're going to do one specifically for the triceps, if you can do this. You bring your weight, or you're going to do it with weights first and then without again. From here, the in-breath, complete. And on the exhalation, we press upwards, lifting the weight. Relax it back down, take the full breath. Feel exactly what's working as we do this. Very slowly top up the breath when you relax the hands and arms down. And exhale, slowly lifting.
I already feel it.
Yeah. One more. Concentration. Okay, come back down, relax. What do we do next? Cleansing breath. You can shake out your arms to keep everything circulating in there. So these are complementary to the regular yoga stretches. So in the stretches, you're pulling out the muscle, getting it to release its tension. Because in general life's activity, the muscles are just being tense, gaining tension all day long because of our lifestyle. Muscles are designed to work. They're made to move. They're supposed to contract and relax. So this is the contraction part that strengthens and builds the muscles. The stretching yoga asanas are to take it the other way, relax them down and let everything go. They're complementary. One needs the other to have a complete system. We're now going to come up to a couple of easy standing positions. Easy to do, but you'll feel that they're not so easy if you're doing this correctly also. We're going to do a simple squat. This is going to engage some of the largest muscles in the legs and buttocks that lift your whole body and allow you to walk and climb mountains and all that. So they're major muscle groups. And the technique, remembering applying Mula Bandha, this is all First Chakra stuff, this Dandhal phenomena. So from the First Chakra, we're going to engage the muscles that are closest to it. Our inhalation is here, and we slowly, using the Dandhal pranayama where the mouth is closed and we're pushing the air out through a little hole between our lips. Slow it down a little bit more and really feel your concentration is here. You're paying attention. So we're not using any weights on this one. The weight of your body is usually enough. You don't need imagination. Your body is heavy enough. The muscles have to engage. You are feeling that engagement. Full breath. Can you feel your muscles? Okay, stop at the top. Shake out your legs. Cleansing breath. And then carry on with half a dozen deep breaths. You can probably feel cardiovascular stimulation. Your heart's beating a little faster. It wants to get oxygen to those muscles and eliminate the CO2. That's the sensation. We feel it as kind of a fatigue and tiredness, and we compensate simply by breathing deep. Cleansing breath discharges the carbon dioxide. With complete breathing afterwards, brings in massive amounts of oxygen to go directly to those muscles. A few more breaths. Just by doing this breathing, you can sense the change of the feeling from fatigue and tiredness that makes you want to stop to a little bit more of an exhilarating feeling that makes you want to keep going. It's like a runner's high. People who run long distance, after a while, your cardiovascular is keeping up and you're breathing deep enough. When the muscles are getting enough oxygen and getting rid of the CO2, you don't actually get tired. So we're aiming for that. Now we're going to do a classic technique out of the book from Yasujin and Haich. It's called Yoga and Health. I'll throw in some pictures of it into this little video clip. This is Tug of War or rope pulling, or you can imagine you're pulling your car out of the mud with a rope. So we're leaning forward, taking the rope, and here we're engaging the arms are used, the legs are used, and your torso core muscles are used in bringing the torso back. So it's much more of a whole body exercise. We're going forward to grab the rope in a more relaxed state, breathing deeply all the way here, and then press air out through a closed mouth, and we're pulling all the way back. Feel all the muscles. Imagine that you're really pulling on a rope. So be mindful of relaxing everything as you go back down into the position, and you're inhaling completely, grabbing the rope. In breath. Feeling all the muscles that we're working in your legs, your core, your arms. Getting in touch with the musculature of your body, which is all first chakra connection. One more. And you should already start to feel the tiredness coming up. Well, okay. So we're doing the rope pulling, and now we're going to demonstrate how to do it with a partner. Like we use the weights for doing the arm movements, we're working against each other, so we get the feeling of which muscles are working, and we do it complementary. So I breathe in, you pull, and I pull, you inhale. Put your strength in it. So the arms are engaged again, the legs you can see are working, and my torso is leaning back and forth. So it's a pretty whole body movement. Let's just do a few more. Concentration, attention and awareness come right into all the muscles so you can really feel what's working. Slow motion, we slow it down even more. One more.
And don't let go of the rope, and then your partner goes.
Okay, so that's a little addition to the rope pulling. Now we do another classic, which is spear throwing, which is what they used to do in ancient India. If you were a warrior, you were trained in all these things. So the spear throwing, again, is a wide stance, and then you're leaning back, picking up the spear from this position. You can imagine that you're throwing a spear. You would do it faster than that. And then, having the motion, you slow it down. Change sides. How you doing?
Ooh, that's hard.
Doing it?
Yeah.
You know that you're doing it well if it's hard. If you I can do that. I can do 100. If you can do more than 6, you're not doing it well enough. Concentration. Opposite side. Don't know if the warriors actually did it on both sides, but we are. So you're leaning back, picking up the spear, and launching. Full inhalation as you lean back. Pressuring it out through the Dandhal breath with the lips closed. Last one. Same ending, cleansing breath. And try and stay in touch with your feelings. When you're doing a few of them, your cardiovascular speeds up, your heart is pumping faster, trying to get rid of the CO2 and bring in oxygen. So when you do the cleansing breath and a few breaths, you can feel that changing back and relaxing everything back down. Couple more breaths. Notice, try locking one in. Again, after the Dandhals, your body chemistry is a little different from normal, so it's very easy to get dizzy and a little lightheaded on the retentions. So you do it very cautiously. So if you start to feel a bit dizzy, you let the breath go. Full breath, shoulders up and back. Lock in. Letting it go. With the Dandhals, when you're doing the retention, you can also just do a macho stance of contracting all your muscles. with the breath retention. Remember also we added Mula Bandha to this, so when you're contracting and doing your retentions, you can be locking in Mula Bandha. Next one we do, swing your arms around, bounce around, loosen up a little bit. Next one is still using a rope, but now we're climbing up. So you grab that one and climb up to the ceiling. Just kidding. There you go. Again, the use of imagination. In the classical system, you didn't use anything. Just when I started doing it, I used again rocks and weights to get the feeling of it because I didn't have much muscle mass at the time, and I actually gained 6 pounds in 48 hours doing this. Just pumped up, and then 1 pound per day for the rest of the month. So I went from a skinny 105 pounds to 145 in 1 month. It was all muscle, there was no fat at all. So the next one is grabbing a rope and you're pulling yourself up. So now you're engaging different muscles, the lats and the pectorals and the biceps. Different movements are just engaging the muscles, different muscles in a variety of ways. We're trying to target many different muscles. Grab the rope, inhalation, and then pull yourself up. A few more. Full breath. You're relaxing and just floating the arms up. And then grabbing the rope and contracting the muscles, pulling yourself up. Last one. Cleansing breath. As you practice the other aspects of yoga, your whole system becomes much more efficient. Circulation is faster and smoother, and your recovery from the high CO2 level to rebalance the oxygen is much faster. In the beginning, you may have to do a few breaths and a few cleansing breaths. So, next one. I think we did a standing press already. Now we're going to push away from us. So, front view is like this. As if you're pushing away from the wall or pushing a car forward. Imagine there's resistance and you're pushing it away. Slower motion. Take a nice full breath, shoulders up and back. You feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Good. You're in touch with your masculine side. Generally, it's more difficult for women to get into the feeling of this. Guys just drop right into it. Cleansing breath. Now we'll do a few of the other warrior positions. These are a little more dynamic and we could even say aggressive. The warriors were trained to be aggressive at times. This is bringing the arms into here and one arm at a time. I'll do it a little bit to the side. Breath is in here and then each time you come back to center, you're topping up the breath and everything is fairly relaxed, and then you engage everything, including Mula Bandha, and throw that punch out. So feel what you're using. You're using the shoulder muscle, the triceps, even some of the lats to do this. Try and actually feel exactly what muscles are doing the work. And the advantage of doing the slow motion is you're going slow enough to notice all these things, but your attention needs to be focused there. Cleansing breath, pump it out. Now we're dealing with the first chakra in all of these. First chakra dynamically, instantly connected to all the muscles in the body. We're going to add a little extra to this, leaning forward, and we do Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha at the same time on the exhalations. So we take in a full breath and out. All the way out, you're pulling the abdomen in, Mula Bandha is tightening. Let it go, take in a breath. So we're engaging the first chakra, strengthening it by applying these two lower locks. Okay, just a few of those, then we come up here and we'll pause. So this one we space ourselves out a little bit. And we're doing a similar punch, but turning and twisting, and there's a bit of a squat involved with it. So we're going forward, striking. Other side. Now we go slower. Keep everybody down. You're repositioning your feet each time you turn. The breath is full here. Last one. Now we keep our wide stance, and we're going to go with a simple squat down onto each side. So position your knees and toes so that your knee is bending out over the toes and not twisting to the side. Our inhalation is here, and slow motion, picking back up. Pushing yourself up and really feeling. We'll do 9 times on each side if you can. See how it feels. Remember, Mula Bandha is also applied. As of now, you begin exhalation, you're squeezing Mula Bandha, you're contracting these muscles. Primarily, quadriceps are being used here. If you have knee problems, you just don't go as far, but if you don't have knee problems, go as far as you can. You can stretch out or take a wider pace if you want, so you're not going way over the knee. That gets a little strenuous on the tendons. Do 9 yet?
I think that was about 9.
Okay, last one then. You feel anything?
Yes, feel it in my quad.
Success. Paying attention to all these little parts in our body. We have hundreds of muscles. Full inhalation here. When you change sides, you might forget something, so remember the breath synchronization, the Mula Bandha. Amen.
Nice.
Okay, good. Cleansing breath. And wiggle, shake out your legs. Continue the breath. We're going to finish this little session. We didn't use any weights this time. That's okay. We're going to do one for upper chest and neck, engaging the muscles up in here, which activate the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland dictates metabolism, activates, sends the activation to the muscles, to metabolism, coming up onto the elbows like this, and inhaling here, exhaling, lifting your head up, chin to your chest. In general, the muscles on the front of your neck are a lot weaker than the muscles on the back of your neck. So you might feel this fairly soon. Your head will start to feel heavy and it's hard to lift it up. Full inhalation back here. Exhale. Slowly. Notice if you feel how your neck muscles are working. Are you feeling it?
Yes. My head is very heavy.
Two more times. Okay, come back up. Sitting position. Keep the breath going. Feel everything in your body that we've been working with. Deepen the breath into 3-part complete breathing. Now we speed it up a little bit. Take half a dozen deep breaths and then we'll lock one in. And when we are locked in with the breath, we'll kind of feel our muscles take a natural movement of bringing your arms up, contracting all your muscles. As long as you can hold that breath and feel whatever sensations you have there, then relax, take a few more breaths. So we'll do that maybe 3 times. Lock in, next one. Relax chest and shoulders. Bring your arms up, clench your fists. Feel whatever sensations are there. We do it again, half a dozen breaths. Every exhalation, make sure you're squeezing everything out. We have just created and made a lot more carbon dioxide than usual, so we need to keep exhaling and pumping that out. Let's lock in the next one. Okay, last time, 6 breaths, lock it in, and that'll be the end of the session. Lock this one in. Shoulders up and back, full breath, lock in, relax everything down. Bring your arms up, clenching your fists, feel your arms contracted and strong. Totally feeling your body contracted, and then let everything go, relax. And that's it for this round of Dandhals. In your own practice, you can make up a variety of moves. Nothing is too classically specific on this, but the idea is you're really feeling whatever muscles that you're working. You're going into the slow motion movement, always synchronized with the breath, whether you're going this way or pulling in this way or curling in or strengthening. You're always using some muscles. So you can go through a whole series of different movements, add the slow motion in the breath, and see how much of your muscles you can feel. They love the workout. Again, muscles are designed to contract. There's a lot of yoga movements for stretching. The contraction is the complement to that. And in standard stressful lifestyle, we don't move enough, but the muscles are still getting tight. They're not contracting and releasing, they just get tight because of the stress, and that's not a good condition for them to be in. So a little workout, just a few minutes. What's recommended in the original book that I'll show you a little clip of in this video, recommended just doing this like for 20 minutes is enough, and you really engaged all your muscles. You told them you still love them and use them and want to be in the world, and they trigger everything else to engage, to support all body functions. So have a good practice. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.